For the dyslexic girlies out there, I'm gonna read this, and I will do it poorly on my phone. So if this sounds like shit, I'm very sorry. This is a response document to the public letter released by the Tickler. For convenience, the public letter will be referred to as the original document. There's a 2.5 year age gap between the Tickler and I. For convenience, they will be referred to as T. Just call him the Tickler. It adds a certain spice. I did not ever have any intentions to, nor did I ever groom T. I did not ever coerce T into acts of any nature they were not comfortable with. The idea of this makes me absolutely sick. This will be fully and clearly addressed later in this document. I will be addressing each point in the order they were brought up in the original document. I will, therefore, be discussing heavy topics, themes mentioned in the original document. Oh, god damn it. Yep, I have a Snapchat contact called Daddy. I'm very sorry. So please be aware. This response will be formatted to be as concise and as straightforward as possible in order to respect your time. Please read through it all. Thank you. The beginning. T and I first began speaking in DMs on March 19th, 2020. At this time, I had been dealing with an extraordinary amount of gender dysphoria, mental health issues, and a cycle of severe verbal abuse from within my own household as a means to shut down the idea that I was transgender. Once I began speaking to T, I realized I had found solace in somebody who was sweet, accepted me for who I was, and that I could trust. This was something I was desperate for in what felt like extreme isolation. T was also in an extremely vulnerable place, having just exited an incredibly damaging friendship that I guided them through the end of. This brought us closer quite quickly, while we were both at very emotionally vulnerable points in our lives. In hindsight, this was a recipe for disaster. I agree. If you're mentally ill, get offline. That's my best advice as a mentally ill girly. I wholeheartedly regret how obscenely obsessive I became at this time. I was jealous of my new friend who had everything that I felt like I didn't have. In tandem with my increasingly aggressive gender dysphoria, I had severe issues with oversharing, especially with somebody I had just met. At this time, my OCD was also what I now recognize at its most aggressive. I felt like I needed constant reassurance. This was something I had been doing with several friends leading up to my friendship with T. But with how close and vulnerable we were with each other, I ended up consistently asking T for reassurance for my OCD obsessions. This is the worst thing somebody with OCD can do, and I fell into that trap. Some of my obsessions, such as my fear of failing to crush on somebody, became something I was jealous of my friend for having. This was entirely unhealthy of me. In hindsight, I should have... Please highlight that first letter. God damn you. In hindsight, I should have broken off the friendship entirely as soon as I began to notice this happening. Part of me was glad to have somebody to vent and relate with. We both reciprocated a platonic love for each other. Despite how worryingly codependent the friendship was getting, another part of me was starting to recognize how toxic... how worryingly codependent the friendship was getting, another part of me was starting to recognize how toxic things were getting. And only a few months in, I expressed this concern to a friend of mine and seriously considered ending things. Oh, please, just let me... Fuck. I hate my phone. I really just kind of don't feel equipped to handle this. I like being an older sister, but I don't like it being constant. Like, maybe I'll be able to handle it better on hormones, which is happening super soon, actually, in about 2 weeks, hopefully. But yeah, she's pretty dependent on me. Like, I'm kind of uncomfortable with that a little. But whatever it should work out, hopefully. Therapy is the answer. It might sound harsh, but it really does help. I don't know what that proved, but okay. Other than that your friend is based and real. I recognize now that T and I were both feeding into each other's fear of abandonment. I softened my words as I was afraid of hurting them if I ever left, and decided that I could make things work in a healthy way. I was not in my right mind. I wish I'd been advised to leave. Well, I mean, they didn't advise you to leave, but they did tell you to get therapy, which would have also helped. Early on in the friendship, I began to refer to T as my sister. This never ever alluded to anything more than a sincere platonic affection towards my friend. This was reciprocated quickly by T, who began to refer to me similarly. We can do this together. We're sisters, aren't we? You're a pretty fucking cool older sister. Well, if you weren't, then I wouldn't have a big sister. Shared face. You're my cool ass big sister. You're the best big sister. Smiley face. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say the other one had the cool glasses emoji. I'm sorry. I just wanted to help out my big sister is all. Well, just to know you're the best big sister I've ever had. Bro, this person's probably the best big sister I've ever had. I don't have a sister. I'd be a crappy little sister if I didn't help you out one time. You're the best big sister, you're my only big sister, and I'm happy for that. It'd be pretty terrible of me to leave my big sister. You're the big sister I didn't know. Oh my god, okay, I get it. Did we need 60 of these? But whatever. Yeah, sometimes my big sister needs help too. You're such a great big sister. You're very important to me. You're my best friend, my big sister, and you deserve kindness and care and love. You deserve to know how that feels. I just want to look out for my big sister. Forever and ever, you're my big sister after all. You always have been. You're my best friend, my big sister. This motherfucker, this tickler person needs to fucking learn how to spell. I don't give a shit that they were a child. Learn how to fucking spell. I was a child once, and I knew how to use autocorrect. I'm being bitter in the middle of this. I'm gonna stop. I feel so lucky to have such a wonderful big sister. Cool big sister whom I love very much. You're always gonna be my big sister. You've always been my big sister. We just didn't know it yet. Maybe deep down I knew you were my big sister and that I had to look out for you. Gosh, I wish I knew I had a big sister sooner. You're my big sister. You're my big sister, Jody. My best friend in the whole wide world. I want to take care of my big sister, frowny face. I love you a whole lot. You're the best big sister I could ever ask for. I love you very, very, very much, Jody. You're the best big sister I could ever ask for. Big sister. I just want to care for my big sister. You're the best big sister I could ever ask for. You are. We're sisters, so I'm allowed to tell you that you're very, very pretty, and I love you very much. And I love you very, very much as my big sister. And I was going to say, hey, last time I used Reddit was to unknowingly defend my big sister. I just love my big sister so much. I want her safe and happy. Oh, I wish you could too. Guess you'll have to come visit me someday. Maybe. Blushy face. Dude Lamau, yeah, tickets booked already actually. Here I come. Boy, he about to do it. Yay, gibberish. It's just gibberish. As pictured above, T also jokingly brought up the idea of me visiting. I entertained this, and it soon became a subject of serious possibility. This never meant anything more than me wanting to say hi to and hang out with a friend I was close with. I spoke to T about many of my OCD themes and dysphoria-induced worries and anxieties, including discussions of body parts. There was an extreme and obvious lack of self-awareness here, especially discussing this with somebody I had just met. T seemed completely comfortable with these discussions at the time and I felt comfortable being able to discuss these themes with somebody who was willing to listen. In hindsight, I sincerely wish I had spoken with other trans people about these topics who had the experience I was looking to be informed on. I'd also like to address a point brought up in the DM screenshot where I mentioned a friend's suicide attempt. The caption underneath the screenshot includes the excerpt. She told this kid to turn on his camera so she could watch while he attempted. I would like to clarify that this is not what happened. The friend in question had after vaguely alluding to something was wrong, as an anxious, clueless 14-year-old, I accepted. He turned on his camera of his own volition, and I saw the attempt live, causing me to end the call abruptly, sending me into a severe panic attack, into a deeply severe panic over what I just witnessed, racing around my own house in shock. Thankfully, he responded to my frantic messages confirming he was okay. This all occurred because we were causing each other issues in a Minecraft server we shared at the time. The friend was very unwell, and I had no idea how far he was being pushed, and that it would result in something as serious as this. The following passage is NSFW. As mentioned in the original document, on 2 occasions I masturbated to some of the art T made of me as a girl, early in our friendship. It is incredibly important to state that this has nothing to do with the artist. I simply felt euphoric seeing myself as female. This behavior then ceased immediately. After a few months after T had turned 16, while I was 18, I masturbated thinking of myself as them. Similarly, I felt euphoric imagining myself as female. There were no ulterior motives to this. I felt weird about this very quickly, seeing how close we were as friends. And this behavior also ceased instantly. As mentioned in the original document, those were both twisted ways to cope with dysphoric feelings and nothing more. Years later, I felt absolutely guilt-ridden over having grossly violated my friend's trust and confided in 2 of my friends that made it clear I could trust them with this, one of which admitted to me they also had coped similarly in the past. At this point, both behaviors I have described above had absolutely and entirely ceased by this point, in tandem with slowly working on the severity of my gender dysphoria and my own self-image. I felt absolutely disgusted by what I did. The evidence is below. Yes, I told Blank about the drawing she made and how I'd have time to myself and look at them and stuff and imagine myself like that, and she's having a tough time processing that, but she only knows about the drawings. She doesn't know I imagine myself as her or that I imagine myself as anybody else. She asked who I told, and I said you and blank, but I never told you and blank about that. I only told you about the imagining myself as other girls thing, which is arguably worse. And I'm fucking scared of hurting her or losing her, and I don't know if I tell her the imagining thing too. I promise I've stopped that too, just like I said I did. I don't know what to do. I'm so fucking scared. In all honesty, it's not really something you need to discuss or even bring up. And trust me when I say that you can move on from this. I'll be honest in saying that I've done similar stuff years in the past before I met any of you, but I don't let it define me now or change my friendships currently. I know it is hard. It's hard, but you have to accept yourself and what happened and try your hardest to move on. It's not worth risking the damage it could do to your friendship if you bring it up when it's something that doesn't even happen anymore. Guys, there are some things that need to go unconfessed. You literally didn't hurt anyone. You stopped the behavior. It's weird to bring it up. You didn't hurt anyone. It was weird. You understood it was weird. You got over it. You move on. But when you bring it up and you make it, you're now making it their problem, which is a problem. I am repulsed by what I did. as I was back then. I feel the need to make it clear that this was never an attempt to involve T with anything sexual or represent any desire I had to date. I wish I could have spared us both the burden of this friendship. Neither of us were in the right mind to handle each other, and both had too many personal matters to work on. Despite the good times, I felt my mental health slipping more and more as I fed into the friendship we had. I was not dealing with my mental state in a healthy way, and I certainly did not have the mental capacity to handle such a friendship. We would have both greatly benefited from never meeting. I mean, yeah, but I wish that life was that simple generally. Late 2020, 2021. I can only echo the sentiment that the private channel nicknamed Jody Hole, created in T's server, turned out to be an awful idea. I love you, you oh so much, Jody. Hey, maybe while I'm in classes, you can spend time in server VCs. If you'd like, I can even set you up a secret VC only accessed by a special role. And you can tell me who you're comfortable with me giving it to. I'd actually really like that. This was an idea suggested by T that sounded good to me at the time, as I was very overwhelmed. Come here, hug, hug, hug. Last night was really, really tough on you, but you really handled everything so well. I think getting rid of Jody Hull was a great idea too. I cannot find the rest of the context that refers to the situation pictured, but T and I both realized that Jody Hull had caused nothing but issues and fractured our friend group. I fully regret this channel, and I sincerely apologize to our friend group at the time that this affected. The crush. In early 2021, an occurring OCD theme for me was a fear of being asexual/aromantic. In a foolish attempt to circumvent this, I began trying to casually date some people around me to see if anything would develop. At this time, I found myself liking the idea of dating a particular friend, whom I was very close with. They responded by telling me that, while they had feelings for another friend, they liked me too. I wanted to give things a real chance, so we began to date. Dude, breathing is hard. Hey, blank, I'm sorry if this catches you off guard. I'm about to fall asleep, so I'll probably word this totally wrong and weird, but you're so sweet and soft and kind to be around. You make me laugh, and you're so genuinely caring, and there aren't enough people in the world like you, blank. And the truth is, I like you, blank. You're such a cool girl. Aw, man, I'm messing this up. Heh. I only have little feelings. I haven't felt any kind of true crushing in a very long time, but I guess it shows because I really have no idea how to admit my feelings, lol. I'm gonna doze off. I'm so sorry if this is weird or anything, but that's the truth. Well, yeah, Jody, I sort of like you too. You've always been kind of been there in my head, and I think about you a lot. You're always amazing to talk to and be around. I know this might sound silly, but I kind of usually stay up and awake in VCs late at night to see if you might join, just so I can be around you more, I guess. You're really awesome, Jody. Can't wait until you wake up and read this. I thought I had feelings here that I ultimately didn't have. Even going into the relationship, I was unsure of what I was feeling, if anything, but T had convinced me to give it a shot. I mean, I do still wanna. I don't know what feelings I'm feeling, but they're getting a little more intense day by day for her. Sorry if that sounds weird or anything. Oh, Jody. I know exactly the feeling. Would you want to just tell her? Is that okay? I suppose it's not even really a huge crush at all. It barely feels like a crush even. I'm not sure what it is, but it's definitely something. We were good friends, but I quickly found myself uncomfortable with the idea of entering on a full-on relationship. I spoke to T about this, who encouraged me to stay in the relationship as it had only been a few days. No, it's okay. I'm really nervous. I really like blank a lot. She's so sweet and caring and a great friend. But I think I mistook the interest I had in her as deeper feelings that weren't really there. I'm too uncomfortable when she's being affectionate with me, and I just don't feel the same way at all. I do love her as a friend. She's deserving of somebody who loves her in a romantic way. But at this point, I'm really scared of leading her on. Oh geez, I talked to blank and blank a lot about this, and they agreed that if I do genuinely feel this way, then it'd be better to end it with blank now and let it go. Let it go on. I feel awful. It's up to you. I don't really know what to say. It's okay. This is something I gotta face. I feel like the right thing to do. I don't want her thinking I'm interested romantically in her when I can't reciprocate those feelings. Sorry if I just fucked up my audio. Oops. I don't see that said here, but that T, I assuming that's who the blank is in this, who the person she's talking to in this context is. I don't see them encouraging her. This might just be the wrong screenshot or whatever. About a week after the relationship began, I decided that staying in a relationship I wasn't committed to did not feel right, and I broke it off, which is the correct move. Over the next few months, this friend was visibly upset on their private Twitter account over the relationship. At first, in my head, this was a casual relationship that barely lasted a week, and I didn't fully grasp why they were so upset about it months afterwards. I then spoke to T about this. Ooh, quarantine collective. The evidence is below. You know what I should do? Give me a second. I really need to mute my goddamn notifications, which is what I just did. This is evidence below. I don't know. I don't think things have been dealt with properly on her end. There seems to be a lot of loose ends on her end. What do you mean? I worded that wrong. I don't think you guys have properly talked things out. I feel as if you're trying to completely avoid and forget about the situation. I know you may not have felt the same, but blank really loved you a lot. And it feels like as if you're sweeping what you had together just under the rug. Shit, oh no. That's how I feel anyways. No, I am never meant to. Oh gosh. She really loved you, Jody. That night it happened. Before it did, I was DMing her because I was afraid. I wanted to tell her, but I knew I couldn't. It's been months, but she's still really hurt. And I don't think you guys found a proper closure. I want to communicate to her. I want to talk to her. I want to communicate with her. I want to let her say anything she has to say and work things out with her. It wouldn't be right to just leave her hurting this bad. I really messed up big time. I can't undo what I did, but I can reconcile my actions and make sure it never happens again, and help blank heal in the process. I don't think you can safely enter a new relationship without tying up loose ends and treating your mental illness first. I know that probably hurts to hear, but it's what I think. No, I agree 100%. Okay. Just real quick. Relationships are always going to have loose ends. That's just how it works. Unless you continue to be friends with them, you can talk about it over time. There's going to be a loose end somewhere. And at some point, you have to accept that there's not going to be, or there may not be, the perfect closure. So you gotta get over it. And it sucks. I know. I'm a bitter bitch. I spent way too much time trying to get over people. But at a certain point, it stops being the other person's responsibility to clear up your anger. And yeah. But like, if you guys want to talk it out, you talk it out. But if they don't want to talk it out, which I've had happen, it sucks. But you have to get over it. You have to accept that it's just going to be a mystery. I was open to just discussing this with said friend, but unfortunately they did not seem comfortable in talking about what had happened. Still, I wish I had pushed to reconcile this more. Okay, if they're gonna be a bitter bitch and not want to talk it out, let them. Let them. Don't push it. Pushing for it is never the correct thing to do. If you have made an attempt and they say no, pushing it just makes you look crazy. I'm gonna be honest. To be fair, I also haven't read the original doc, so I have no idea how this is relevant. About when I dated blank. I've been feeling bad about how she's been feeling for a while. She talks about it on her priv sometimes, still about how she's not over it, and I feel horrid and awful. But I feel like every time I've tried to imply to her that it's okay to talk to me about that stuff, she ghosts me or talks about something else. How long is this between? Yeah, if they're still being bitter about it after you've reached out and it's been like a month, it's officially no longer your problem. That's just how it goes. At a certain point, you have to stop trying to take responsibility for someone else's mental health. But I feel like every time I've tried to imply it to her that it's okay to talk, there's nothing you can really do. She refuses to talk it out with you. You did everything you could. But she feels bad. But she refuses to talk things out with you. In hindsight, I've since learned how deeply hurt this friend was and their circumstances at the time that led to their vulnerability. For that, I am genuinely so sorry to them. They were my friend, and I never wanted to hurt them, and this was an incredibly shitty mistake, and completely on my part. Me. I don't think so. I think this is a situation where it's if a 1 week relationship will have you bitching about it for months, which I've been there. I'm a bitter bitch. I still complain about my fucking ex. It stops being their fucking problem. It starts being yours. Like, you asked to talk. They didn't want to talk. They were angry about it and clearly bitter, which is their right, but if they don't want to talk it out, there's nothing you can do. I mean, I personally would have fucking dumped all of my shit on the table at the breakup because that's the kind of crazy I am. Would have been like, okay, so this isn't going to work out. I thought I had feelings for you. I just don't, and I don't know what the fuck is going on. And you're still pretty young. I was much younger when I got into relationships for the first time, but I got that feeling of like, is this a crush, or am I just excited someone's interested in me? Like, I've been on the receiving end of this situation. You're lucky she didn't. She's lucky you didn't go, I just realized I wasn't attracted to you, which is rough, buddy. That is rough to hear. You're not attractive. Thank you. No, but yeah, no, like, I've been on the other end of this, and that's actually specifically the relationship I was talking about being bitter about afterwards, even though it was like a week long, because it's like, it hurts. But I don't hold that against him, because we talked about it and he explained that it felt really nice to have somebody interested in him. And he got caught up in that, and when he realized that it wasn't something he actually wanted to pursue, he told me. And it sucks, but it's something that I joke about being bitter, and I will complain about it when it's a funny thing to mention, but I don't actually feel any resentment towards him. But yeah, no. Of all your shitty mistakes, I wouldn't put that up there, frankly. But I don't know the whole situation. Late 2021, 2022. By the way, this is fucking long. This was supposed to be concise. This is long. I don't know what I got myself into. Oh, okay. It's only crazy long. Well, it's not crazy long. It's decently long. I went too far up. Okay, late 2021, 2022. In June of 2022, I visited How is this late 2021 if this is the first thing is 2022? You know what? Not my problem. In June of 2022, I visited T at their home for the first time. At this point, we were 20 and 18 years old. Prior to this trip, we had discussed the idea of sharing our first kiss with each other. Okay. I mean, I have thoughts, but that's not my problem. This is evidence below. You don't have to... At this point, yeah, we get it. We get the evidence that this is evidence below. There's a little cry. I've just been thinking about what would happen if we kissed or something, I guess. I don't know, hug. But only just a thought, I promise. Just a really far off thought. I don't want you to feel pressured into anything at all, because I promise it's just a thought. Is it bad I had the same thought? Oh my gosh. OMG, oh my gosh. It's okay. Let's not rush into anything, but OMG, that made me warm. We're just friends right now, I promise, but still, oh my god. Gibberish, you're so cute. While in the past we had spoken about possibly rooming together in the future, even at this time, the idea of a serious relationship between us had never crossed my mind. I also want to kiss my homies, unironically, so I get it. We were very close with each other by this point, and in my head, the idea of my first kiss being with my best friend felt like a very nice idea to me. Regardless, I was not explicitly looking to enter a relationship. We further talked during this time, the first 2 days of 4 trips. First 2 days of the first of 4 trips. Eventually, we kissed, and I was excited about it. Several times afterwards, occasionally, I would get an erection from getting to kiss this person I had a close bond with. This occurring was never sexual in nature, purely nerves and emotional excitement. I found it extremely awkward and uncomfortable that this happened, as, for obvious reasons, it seemed like I was giving off a very different message. Thankfully, the issue quickly waned and soon ceased entirely. Regarding the claim that I took T's hand and slowly moved it to my crotch underneath the blanket, we were consensually making out in the privacy of their own room, sitting together on my makeshift bed. T then, of their own volition, looked at my crotch and asked me for permission to touch it, asking me, is this okay? I gave T permission and guided their hand towards me. It is extremely important for me to declare everything that happened was completely consensual between T and I. But I did not enjoy this. The erection T was seeing was, again, from just being happy that we were kissing. T could tell I wasn't into it and worriedly asked if they had traumatized me. They had not. But I feel it important to mention this again. I was not looking for a relationship at this time. I didn't know what we were, just that I enjoyed kissing them. Later in the trip, T confessed to me. I was honest and explained to them later that night that while I wasn't completely opposed to the idea of dating them, I wasn't sure about a relationship. As I was still figuring myself out, I wasn't sure if I even had feelings for them. This upset T very much, to a point where briefly that night they wouldn't speak to me. I wanted to make them happy, and I was afraid of turning them down. Turning them down would completely ruin our relationship, and ultimately, a little uncomfortable, I gave the relationship a shot. As I'd clearly enjoyed being intimate to an extent, I wanted to make this work for them. This would become my first relationship. Wow, just discounting the other relationship. SMH. This in contrast to the original document's claim that I made myself into T's girlfriend. The framing of this statement feels intentionally misleading. In hindsight, I clearly was not ready for a relationship, and I had too much to work on myself, and T was still in a relationship with their partner. What? What do you mean? Quay? Okay, well, I'm just going to have to read the other document eventually. The original document states, Jodi's argument of T being a platonic sister all goes completely out the window when you consider that we dated for 2 years. I would like to confirm, as shown in the screenshot earlier, that we both referred to each other platonically as sister until we began dating for obvious reasons. Y'all. Maybe I'm just not this kind of homosexual. Well, to be fair, I'm not a homosexual. I'm a bisexual. It's complicated. But the idea of... I'm sorry. The idea of calling someone cis and then making out with them in any capacity, even like... it causes me revulsion. Oh, big bro, can we make out? Sorry. Oh my god, I am devastated. Oh, okay, please. You posted like 60. Don't pull an eye on Alex here. Oh my gosh, Jody sis I. Come on, sis. I'm sorry, sis. Disgusting. These were the last times we ever referred to each other in this way. May 31st for myself and June 26th for T. The later date was the day I returned home after my trip. Homie. There was never any pre-existing plan to date T. Like, this is what Jody wanted the entire time. I never had any prior intention of entering a relationship with them, with me unsure of even wanting a relationship when T's feelings were admitted to me in person. Had T not confessed to me, I would not have entered a relationship with them at that time. That's usually how that works, buddy. I'm gonna be real with you. Relationships start with something. There is an inciting incident, whether that's caused by you or them. But also I can see how T in this situation, from what I'm reading, this one side of the story, would feel that on. Or led to believe that there was more wanted here. I have been in the situation of accidentally leading somebody on and being like, I didn't say I wanted a relationship, you just assumed. The answer is, guys, you bring that up immediately. I want to kiss as homies, and then you kiss as homies, and you go, wow, I really like kissing you as homies. You do the saber spark, and you say friends after kissing. It worked out perfectly for him, guys. Perfectly. Double down on that. No, but actually, like that, that restating of boundaries, well, kind of fucking autismo, and something I would do. It is a good way of like restating the fact that this is not going further if you were worried about the other person. Really, if you're worried about the other person having feelings, you talk to them about that. And if you're still worried about it after that, you stop it, because things get real fucking bad if things feel weird like that. I don't have that many relationships. I'm talking out my ass for the most part. Uh, Even after I had returned home, I made it clear that I didn't want to determine that we were in a seriously committed relationship just yet, just to make sure that this was something that I actually wanted to try. Incorrect. Girl, incorrect. The idea that I planned for anything of this nature from our first talks, the fact that T and I's actions have been twisted to serve a narrative that I groomed them, are disgusting and false accusations that have made me feel absolutely sick to my stomach. From what I've read, I don't see the grooming, but I have not read the grooms. I'm sorry, that was so bad. I have not read the groomies. I haven't read T's document yet, or whoever's document yet. I don't remember. Okay, but in this situation, if you're not sure, just be like, hey, I'm feeling really not great about this. Be brutally honest. It's not easy. I had to start forcing myself to just fucking put my feelings out there. It has really ended every single one of my relationships. For the better, probably. No, it has not ended every single one of my relationships. That's not true. But I believe in communicating. Try not to there are points. Sit with your thoughts. But also tell your partner that you need to sit with your thoughts. Or their potential partner, whatever. But yeah, be very clear with them. Communicate. Be open and honest. Open, honesty, and communication. Be like, I don't know if those are my real feelings or what, but I'm not comfortable with this. Something's weird and something's off, and I'm not ready to be in a relationship right now. I think we should wait until I'm in therapy or whatever. Like, something like that helps communicate and cut. It doesn't end bad feelings. Bad vibes will exist regardless. But it can cut off these situations real fast. Try to communicate that shit real quick, in my opinion. I haven't had a relationship last over 5 months, so terrible advice, but can't say I let a bitch on, can you? Well, most of my relationships last a week. Okay, this is not the place to dump my relationship trauma. To reiterate, we were adults aged 20 and 18, and at the beginning of our relationship, nothing was ever acted upon that wasn't first asked for or consensual. Regardless, I wish I never kissed. That's rough. Oof. I mean, see where it's ended up. You know what? That checks out, but you know what? I'm not going into more of my fucking issues with my exes. I feel this is an appropriate point to bring up T's ex-partner in order to paint a clearer picture. While it is true that initially I had an unhealthily jealous I was unhealthily jealous of the relationship T had, especially in accordance with my current OCD obsession at the time. The time concerning my worry that I wouldn't find my own relationship, this issue quickly waned, and T's partner and I became friendly with one another towards mid-late 2020. Mid to late 2020. I would even go to T's partner for comfort and reassurance. They were a close friend, and I was very happy for T and their partner. I did not want to get in the way of their relationship. In some of my darkest moments in late 2020, T's partner would be there for me in voice chats and help talk things through with me. In early 2021, T's partner would admit to actively cheating on them since October of 2020. Damn. Uh, by the way, if you're making a document, please refer to how Ren makes documents. Or does their chat things where they have like the different colors for the different people. It makes it much easier for me to follow. But I'm an autismo. He's online. Fucking Christ. He cheated on me. On Uncle Kanaka. And on No. Jody! Same month as our anniversary. Are you fucking serious? Yeah, I'm fucking screaming at the moment. Can't fucking believe him. Fucking started a court case for you so that I could come visit you this year. So we could hug and cuddle. A court? I have so many questions. Why the fuck did you uh we could hug and cuddle and so you could give me my first kiss? Why the fuck did you do this to me? You're not even giving a real answer. T's partner. Because I had a feeling we wouldn't actually meet, and I'm too much of a coward to admit anything like that. We were literally planning it. I'm getting a fucking passport so we have the funds. Fucking asshole, are you serious? I hope you're not letting him hear the end of it. I was extremely upset and furious at this news. I am in pure shock that they would even think to do this to T. I still cannot begin to imagine the anguish this caused T at the time. T wanted to continue the relationship and work through this issue, and within a few months, while the relationship was admittedly damaged, things would begin to improve between T and their partner. I was only ever supportive of this, and continued to be close friends with both T and their partner. I would reach out to T's partner to chat whenever they were around, and we would hang out as a group on several occasions. In 2022, T's partner would become less responsive, and T would talk with their partner less, eventually breaking off the relationship the day that we first kissed. Well, I hope before, but alright. Sigh, I don't know how much longer me and partner are going to be together, to be honest. Gosh, what? He's a really, really nice guy, but as of late, he's really not been around or here for me, and I feel super distant from him. I've come to expect him, just not being here. Sad face. I wish he was around for you more. I've kind of given up on trying to wake him or anything. The point I would like to make clear is that I did not want nor plan for their relationship to break down in the slightest. I was extremely happy for them both, and as mentioned above, I had not even considered the idea of dating T myself. There's this. And then, when were they talking about kissing? Okay. Oops, I went too far. Okay, so this is June 3rd, 2022. And they were talking about kissing. Wow. Bangers. Banger after banger. 6/6/2022. So 3 days later. I mean, hey. Okay. I'm assuming this is month, day, year, because that would make sense and line up. I think. I'm just a little guy. I can't remember all this. But yeah. So it was 3 days later that they were talking about kissing. Regarding the hike anecdote mentioned in the original document, the framing of this anecdote is misleading and mixing up two separate occasions. We did go on a hike to the local park within the first couple of days of our trip. I was out of my element in an area with hilly terrain I was not familiar with and weather much hotter than I was used to. I was thirsty and visibly exhausted. We later both discussed having thought about kissing each other at the top of the trail we had taken. That's all that happened on that hike. On another occasion, we visited the exact same area to attend a barbecue event. After we had eaten, he took me behind the cabin the event was taking place under and kissed me. At which point I tried to hide an erection I was experiencing for the very same reason I stated previously in the document. We walked through the forest behind the cabin where we ultimately kissed again. We then made our way further through and back out of the forest, landing in a grassy area below the velocity of the cabin. Out of sight, T then entertained with me the idea of a domestic life together with romantic intentions. I did not make this clear at the time, but I felt a little uncomfortable that they may have been wanting to move too fast for me, given how uncertain I felt about a serious relationship. Still, I entertained the idea, not wanting to hurt them, and we returned to the cabin. Don't do that, guys. Just be honest. It'll suck, but be honest. I did later admit that I was redirecting blood flow on some of the occasions that we would kiss. When I would feel it necessary for me to do so, as mentioned above, this was, again, extremely awkward for me and potentially indicated a very different message. Again, this is not an issue that lasted very long. Regarding my consecutive visits to T, I struggle with autism and severe social anxiety. I've always felt very socially isolated as someone who was transgender, living in a very small remote town for most of her life, and the COVID-19 outbreak completely killed any IRL social life I had. Visiting T and their family was truly the only consistent IRL social interaction I had that wasn't immediate family. From 22 to 2024. I loved staying with their family, and everybody was always extremely kind and accepting towards me, something I struggled with from my own family. I struggled to feel like I was wanted, however, and I often battled with severe social anxiety that I did not know how to control, hyper-focusing on the idea that I was a burden, making this family accommodate for something they may have only been tolerating, rather than wanting around. The issues that were apparently had with me were never directly addressed to me. Something I require as an autistic. Something that everyone requires. If you have issues with people, just be straight up with them. People like to be like, it's an autistic thing to not know when there's an issue. Bitch, if you're not fucking telling me, how the fuck is anyone supposed to know? It's like, unspoken expectations are, what is it? The resentment's waiting to happen. You need to communicate to people your expectations, and issues, because people are not fucking mind readers. But yeah, I repeatedly brought up these anxieties to T, who assured me they were nothing to worry about. Y'all, if somebody asks you if something is an issue and it is an issue, just be honest. Just be fucking honest with them, okay? Just be real. Just be real with the homies. It sucks, but I believe that honesty is the best policy. Most of the time. There are times where the honesty doesn't fucking work. And this is why some things didn't last. But yeah, no, it's, if there's an issue, bring it up. Because nobody's gonna get better and fix their fucking behavior if you don't bring it up. The following visit anecdotes will be in a smaller font to tidy up this page. This hurts my feelings. During my second visit, when the entire house got COVID, I was hit with a severe, what I assumed to be COVID-induced depressive state that I could not have anticipated, nor was mentally prepared to handle. I was not used to staying indoors for a long time as we were required to, either as a result of both the harsh snow and sickness, isolation, and constantly felt paranoid that my presence was a burden on everyone, in contrast to what the original document stated. I never weaponized my anxiety to get attention, nor would I have ever dreamed of doing something like this to people I consider family. I refused food only as my anxiety came to be so severe I would be afraid to leave T's room and socialize with other people around the house, nor trust myself to feed myself properly. As someone who has struggled majorly with an eating disorder, I was always increasingly anxious about unknowingly eating more than was necessary or socially acceptable, or otherwise eating in ways I would be judged for. Girl, I fucking feel that. During my third visit, I was dealing with severe mental health issues and anxiety, more so than usual. We took a trip to Canada to visit our friend. While I did enjoy some of my time there due to an unforeseen incident wherein I was refused entry to the bus that we had booked to take us back to the United States, our friend refused to drive us back home, despite how anxious and tired T and I both were, and despite both of our suggestion. As I had not planned to be in Canada for more than a few days, I did not have my medication or HRT to tide me over, or my phone, which I had lost. We were then stuck in Canada for an extra few days, as opposed to an extra day as the original document states, till plans were fortunately made to bring us home. I became extremely stressed out at this time and incredibly depressed as a result of lacking my medication. I ended up finding this situation very traumatic. The friend we were visiting never gave us a reason as to why they didn't help us home, other than apparently having weekend plans with their parents. I mean, that's shitty. And I can speak to how quickly depression can take over if you miss even a day of meds. Never mind a few days of meds and then hormone issues. That does sound like hell. That sounds very bad. During my fourth visit, we had agreed on a somewhat impromptu visit, as I was living with my parents, who were moving into a house that couldn't fit us all and needed time to help me find a suitable apartment nearby. Under the advice and suggestion of my parents, after confirming that it was okay with T's parents, I was graciously allocated another 4 weeks to stay in the U.S. with T and their family. I ran out of medication yet again, and unfortunately didn't know how to handle myself off of my medication. I never ever intended to make anybody in the house upset, and that was never my goal. Admittedly, I freaked out extremely badly when it came time to leave, and I was incredibly anxious about coming home to an apartment I was not familiar with in an area of my country that was completely alien to me. This was obviously ridiculous of me to do, and I was not of sound mind at the time. Girl, I have had my crash outs. At a certain point, you have to go, I acted crazy. And I'm very sorry that I acted inappropriately. I'll leave it at that. You've already stated you're not on your meds. And that you have, like, OCD, and that you're incredibly depressed. Like, we know you're not of sound mind all the time. Mental illness does that to a girly. So it starts to sound like an excuse when it's repeated over and over again. If you've laid the groundwork to your mental health issues and what might cause fluctuations, it is important to constantly bring that up. To restate, I am a girly who does know something about that, so I'm constantly bringing it up. It's not It's not easy to do, but it can come off as an excuse if you constantly bring up, well, I'm taking blah 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 and I ran out. I was gonna say fiber, and then I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Each visit, I would hype myself up to be as sociable and as friendly as possible because I wanted to make a good impression. I always offered monetary compensation for my stay, which at times was refused. However, I found myself time and time again worrying too much about if I was coming across as awkward or antisocial, which seemed to feed into my actual behavior. Still, I was unsure how much of this was real versus how much of this was paranoia. Been there. As evidenced below, oftentimes I was reassured that everything was fine and that I was overthinking things. I'm gonna vomit from embarrassment, Jody. Tight squeeze. Are you okay? Keep being awkward. Are you actually being awkward, or are you overthinking all the stuff you say? I was so shy I didn't even respond to your mom when she called me for lunch. She brought me Sammy and stuff. She's not upset, but I have way too much anxiety. Hug. It's okay to be shy. Big hug. But don't be embarrassed of yourself just for existing. It's hard. Girl, I fucking feel that. Aside from conversations that was had during and a brief message to T's mother that was had directly after my second visit concerning my depressive state at the time, none of these issues were ever brought up to me. After each visit, T would always tell me that they missed me and that they enjoyed our time together. I was under the impression that, despite my worries, these trips were ultimately okay. At the time of writing this, I just dropped you off at the airport and we just got into the car. It's been all of 2 minutes and I'm bawling like a bitch. I'm so sorry I couldn't give you a kiss. I already miss hugging you every time I see you, and walking away broke my heart. You've made this the best 2 weeks of my entire life, and I wish you could live with me forever. I miss holding your hand. I am crying so much, dude. This is awful. I miss you more than fucking anything. Oh, this is the first trip. This is the second trip. Third trip. I had such an amazing time with you. I'm sorry I couldn't stick around the airport long. Maybe sometime I'll be going on that flight back with you. But think about how much fun you had here. There's not even any shit to do where I live, and yet we still had a great time. Oh gosh, I know. I just feel like things have really sparked between us. I feel optimistic. Fourth trip. I love you so fucking much, Jody. Thank you for giving me such an amazing summer. I can't stop crying. I'm still gonna talk to you, but it's already lonely for me. Me too. Weird. Oh, I just can't read the PM. Be here to talk to you, but it's already lonely for me too. Ugh, I love you so much, blank. I want to come visit again so bad. You will, baby. All of us loved having you here. I just keep crying. I can't stop. Even my siblings were sad to hear you'd gone. Crying is healthy and okay. The original document states, T didn't cry when Jody left that year. As evidence above in the messages T and I sent each other after the fourth visit, seemingly we both did. People lie, and that's on them. But yeah. And that was in 2024. So yeah. The above screenshot also evidenced the fact that, according to T, all of T's family loved having me here. This was the impression I was under for the majority of my visits. I had no idea the apparent stress and anxiety I was causing anybody in the house with apparent major issues with me never communicated. I've never had 5 guys, so when I come up, we should get some for real. Oh my gosh, my voice dying? That's so awkward. But yeah, it does say the siblings were sad to see them gone. Ooh, My voice changed drastically. How fun. A day later, T coming to visit me was still a subject of discussion, as it had been not long after I had made my first visit to them. Again, this indicated to me that T was happy with my visits and even wanted to come to visit me in the UK. Oh, British. All of my respect has disappeared. I mean. I really, really miss having you here too. You were the highlight of my day every day. I miss coming home and hugging you and kissing your head. As evidence above in the screenshots, even several months later, it is being reinforced to me that T missed having me around in person as lately as the fourth visit. I was still under the impression there was no issues with my visits. In hindsight, I should not have been on any of these trips, and too many anxiety-related issues I needed to sort out, and I clearly was not a welcome presence when my mental health was affecting me as severely as it was. I would also like to address the screenshot appearing to detail my behavior in public during the Canada trip in the middle of my third visit to T. These are presented below. This is so tiny. See, this is how I want all the screenshots to look. I love these screenshots. When they're color coordinated, it makes it super easy to read. It feels like she has no self-awareness. Ooh. So this was, in fact, way earlier. Venting is normal, by the way. One time me and Jody just had a talk that week about me not wanting her to come to my house like we had planned because she was being a dick. And I was in VC with her and Teal. I don't know that color. I don't know how to name any colors. Talking about stuff to do while Teal visited. And Jody was like, what if I took a plane and came down too? Dead fucking silence, dog. Ugh, so awkward. For real, even IRL, I had to tell her to stop grabbing Teal everywhere in public. Okay, wait, I'm making it sound way worse than it was, but still. Lamau, grab in what way? She just grabs Teal anywhere, anytime. Grabs her stomach or face or boobs or anything. In public? Yes, crying emoji. I had to tell her to stop in public. That actually made me physically uncomfortable to read. It was so fucking awkward, for real. It's fine, I don't care. Not in public, damn right. Like, of course you're allowed to do that, but not publicly. Don't do that. Why, I turned you off. Be gone. I didn't turn on Do Not Disturb, which I should have done. Especially not the fucking boobs, like, dog. That's when I had to tell her to stop, because who does that? Yeah, seriously, ugh. That's actually uncomfortable to hear, seriously. Like, I don't care as a joke at all. It's just embarrassing having her do that shit. And oftentimes, Teal had to tell her to stop being so needy at my house. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Getting third-wheeled IRL sucks ass. This sounds like the unhealthiest relationship ever. Last month, literally went to unrelated place with my boyfriend and an unrelated friend. We did not have this issue. For real, I did the same with my girlfriend and unrelated friend. It wasn't awkward 1 second, and it's not Teal at all. Teal tries to make Jody be less needy when I'm around. It's really only just Jody. And Teal can't tell her to stop every time since it'd be genuinely so fucking awkward at that point. And it's just really scary, the idea of bringing this up to Teal and her hating me for it, which I never had a real talk with her about it. That's a you problem, my guy. Okay, couples being fucking crazy in public. I am also anti that. Uh, um, the friend redacted in green is the friend T and I visited in Canada, who refused to help us make it home so that we could meet. They could meet with their partner. Oh, not their parents. That makes so much difference, actually. I believe it's important to keep in mind their direct quote here. Okay, wait, I'm making it sound way worse than it is. For real. Even IRL friends had to stop telling her to grab teal everywhere in public. Okay, wait, I'm making it sound worse. Way worse, but still. Unless I am severely misremembering this, rarely, if ever, was an issue that occurred. This rarely, if ever, was an issue that occurred in public. Again, this was, if this was ever an apparent issue, T, nor the aforementioned friend, had ever made this known to me. Their claim in the above screenshot that even IRL, they had to tell Jody, me, to stop grabbing T everywhere in public is not something I ever remember this friend saying to me. I do not recall T and I kissing once at the restaurant with our friend visiting from Canada 6 months prior to the Canada trip. Which is brought up as an issue said by the friend that I acknowledge respected for the future. Otherwise, any public displays of affection. I do recall once at a restaurant with our friends visiting. Blah 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 blah. Respected in the future. Otherwise, any displays of affection with T that I recall was light and affection and nothing more. However, the message displayed above, directly addressing a moment that I do remember, was instantly ashamed of. However, the event this anecdote details did not take place in a public place. I had some social drinks that evening, and this was my first time properly drinking in over 3 years. T and I were laying on the guest bed with our friend and their partner in the room with us. I was dozing off with an alcohol, my face down, and without thinking, I laid my hand on T's breast, stupidly, momentarily believing we were alone. Our friend noticed this and mentioned my name, at which point I recall instantly snapping out of the state, realizing that what I was doing in front of 2 other people. This was, understandably, incredibly awkward for everyone else in the room, leaving me rightfully embarrassed and profusely apologizing. I understood immediately how inappropriate this was, and, from my understanding, something we had soon moved on from. The severity of this was never a repeat issue, and I have not had a proper drink since this incident. If there were issues that I had subconsciously missed or examples of PDA that went too far, I am genuinely sorry to both T and our friends in Canada. I would have never gone out of my way to intentionally make uncomfortable public advances like this. Jody's all-consuming obsession. It is clear from the original document how bad my obsession and attachment issues were during my time with T. During those 5 years, I absolutely and completely spiraled delusional that our relationship could keep working in a healthy manner, continuing in the way that it was. I never gave myself the right amount of space to improve myself, which, in hindsight, is what I desperately needed to do. This did nothing but worsen my mental state. I should have left, or at least taken a break, at any point in that time. The earlier the better. I chose not to, and continued a self-worsening, awful cycle that hurt T, my friends, and myself in the process. T and I were both unhealthily attached to each other, myself more so. I did not make this any better with any of my behavior. This isn't to say codependency did not go both ways, as it very much did. I'm so tired, I don't even feel motivated to get money together to get my VR. I was so excited to show it to my grandma, but I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, sis. I'm here, come here. Hug, 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 hug. I'm so sorry, my girl. Why didn't you respond? I got caught up in something. I'm sorry, my girl. I'm really busy with stuff. Oh, okay. I would have preferred examples that were closer to the time this is taking place, or like during their relationship, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. Oh, girly, would you eat, sis? Pizza and too much ice cream. I'm so sad. Part of me is so jealous because I'm so selfish, and I guess I just, the selfish part of me just wanted all your love to myself, but I'm still so happy for you. It's okay, it's okay, Jody. I only promise if it's gonna happen, and promised it'd happen soon. Are you uh are you angry or upset with me? Okay. Oh my god. Please don't stop loving me. I'm just crying. I'm not angry. Never, never, never ever. I don't want you to stop loving me. I'm never, ever, ever going. Never, ever, ever going from you. Never gonna stop loving you ever. That's a promise. I don't want to stop being yours, yours, Jody. I don't want to stop being yours. Sometimes in life, your roommate just fucking kidnaps you out of nowhere. And you have to stop reading documents. I don't want you to stop loving me. Never, ever, ever going from you. I'm never gonna stop loving you ever. That's a promise. I don't want to stop being yours, Jody. I don't want to stop being yours. If you went, who would call me their baby sister? I wouldn't have anybody to keep me company at night and help me when I have bad dreams. I'm crying so hard. I'm so scared of so much, Jody. I leave bed so much today. I'm scared of things getting worse. Oh, I needed so much today? Oh, my girl, cry it all out for me. Shh, baby sister, I'm here. I promise I'm never, ever going from you, alright? I, too, had to reassure them I wouldn't leave. The 3 above screenshots occurred when I began to date the person detailed in the crush. At times when I had the rare opportunity to hang out with my own IRL friends, T would take issue with this and end up spiraling. I felt guilty for the time I did spend away from them. An example of this is evidenced below. Hug. Tight, tight squeeze. I miss you. I'm right here, T. I'm here. I'm sorry I was gone so long. Cuddle, cuddle. I feel awful. What's wrong for not being here so much today? I miss you. I'm lonely. I've had nobody to talk to. Shh. Snuggle, snuggle. My friend's still around, my girl. I know. I'm so lonely. I miss you. Shh. Oh, my girl. Hey, IRL's gonna be gone in about half an hour, okay? What if even when he's gone, you're too busy to talk to me? Shh. Try not to worry for me, sweet girl, alright? You wanna call when he's gone? I've been, having so many dreams about you just not being around me. It makes me sad. Oh my gosh, T. We can't have that, soft cuddles. I'm here, okay? Jody loves you. Shh. I feel like it's my fault that I gotta edit my video and stuff. I don't want to be a bad friend. You're my best friend in the whole world, and I want to give you love and attention and care. What if you stop talking someday? What if you stop talking to me someday? Sorry, I don't know. I'd just distract you. I can call and edit at the same time, sis. I feel like I should be the one apologizing for editing. I feel bad and I never want to leave you alone. I'm just jealous. Oh, no. What are you jealous for, critter? Because I'm selfish. I'm jealous that you have people you can invite over to hang out, and I'm jealous because you're with them and not me. Aw, Rose. Come on, you're not selfish. I don't really speak to IRL much anymore. Heh, I just thought it'd be nice to catch up with them. Unfortunately, while T's partner's Discord account has been deleted for some time, meaning I cannot provide screenshots of this, I came to them several times in DMs, finding it necessary to talk about how T's behavior would often become stressful to deal with. For clarification's sake, T's partner was my age. Regardless of this, I can fully acknowledge that I was worse in retrospect, and as mentioned in the original document, the extent of my clingy behavior resulted in extreme lasting damage for the people around us and our own friendship. This, in addition to my worsening mental health that I was not receiving the appropriate care for, would trigger so much shitty, rude, dismissive behavior on my part. I would lash out for seemingly no reason as a result of my own internalized frustration. I would act overly jealous for no reason and have ultimately destroyed the trust of so many of my friends over my actions. I'm sorry to everybody I've hurt and pushed away. I can't undo how awful my behavior has been over the years, but I'd at least like to offer some solace in the fact that I am actively working on improving myself in this time away from the friend group I was with. To clarify points brought up in the original document, the behavior involving muting and deafening every time T stepped away was certainly an on and off issue that arose in the past, but something that ceased in the last couple of years leading up to our breakup. While we did call most nights, and some nights I was upset we could not. This was not something I would break down over every time. Admittedly, I had times I would be upset, and if I had some extreme underlying worry or anxiety that night. However, this is not an excuse. At certain points, I did want to join T and other servers and voice chats they were in. Again, I would like to state that especially closer to the end of our relationship, this was an issue that only declined in frequency over time. I will not deny that this behavior was inappropriate. T often willing and happy to spend a large portion of their free time together in voice chat. T was often willing and happy to spend a large portion of their free time together in voice chat. This specific example was taken from, yet again, the end of our 4th visit. I wish we could VC all day, sad face. However, none of these points negate or justify how rude or mean I was to others around me during this time. I've mentioned above, I cannot overstate how selfish my behavior was during this time, at points in ways I didn't even realize until much, much later. I abused and ignored boundaries laid out for me, sometimes not even recognizing these boundaries. While I very, very much did desire to change for the better, I found myself frustrated over and over again at what felt like my own incompetence. What I had failed to realize was that, as stated earlier in the document, I needed to spend time apart from T to work on myself. I wanted both of these things, and this never worked. I realize this now. Regarding drug abuse, I found cannabis a few years ago, which I would both recreationally and which I would use both recreationally and for medical purposes, in order to help treat my mental illness. T and I would also use it heavily during my visits to their home. Oh, hey, cat. While I appreciate that inherently there are no issues with this during these trips, partaking at home would heavily influence my ability to stay sharp enough to work, which would which would trigger a depressive spiral as I'd be making little progress, which I'd then deal with by using. In retrospect, this was obviously a horrible idea. This would last on and off from early 2023 until late 2024. I would also break into cannabis-induced panic on occasion, which would become a clear issue for those around me. During this recent time of recovery and slow reflection, I have enormously slowed down on partaking and have been completely sober for months. While I will not deny the benefits of cannabis, I cannot in good faith resume the heaviness of which I was using, at least not for a very long time. It only caused issues, ultimately, and I'm happy to be feeling much more like myself in regards to this these days. The end? I had a very tough time with our breakup. I would like to reiterate that in the days leading up to the breakup, I was still being reassured that none of what was upsetting T was my fault. What's making you anxious, T? Is there anything specific? I guess just everything that's happened over the past month. Oh, baby, I know. You've been nothing but helpful and supportive, though, sweetheart. None of what's upsetting me is your fault. I was experiencing yet another mental breakdown at this time and terrified of any more change. I redirected this pressure on T in hindsight, especially considering the results of the U.S. election at this time. This was incredibly blindsided and selfish of me. When I called hotlines, made every effort to organize emergency medication, and tried to keep myself calm, I still did nothing but end up stressing T out in a time where they did not need this. Eventually, T broke up with me. Afraid of change, I wanted to be absolutely sure they meant what they had meant. This was clearly just me having an unreasonable amount of trouble processing what T told me, and incredibly stupid of me to do at this time. At this point, T made it clear to me that they didn't want much to change outside of our breakup, wanting to remain best friends. No, Jody, I just can't be in a romantic relationship. I really like you and love you so much as my best friend. Hug, hug, hug. I understand, T. If I don't want to be around you, I wouldn't go through all this trouble to talk to you. Tight, tight, tight squeeze. I want to be your best friend still. Me too. I'm not gonna go away, okay? My mom also wouldn't mind if you wanted to talk to her. Not that you have to, but if you feel like you need to. On January 13th, 2025, I posted a distressing tweet that said goodbye. I posted this in the moment without thinking. Okay, so I broke up in December. Without thinking. I would also like to clarify that as much as it may have come across this way, this was not a direct effect of the breakup. I mean, it's like a month later. I wouldn't directly say. I don't know what was happening in DMs between those times. I posted this in the moment without thinking. I would also like to clarify, as much as it may have come across this way, this was not a direct effect of the breakup, and I foolishly did not think about how this would come across. While my mood was low, it was a result of severe OCD obsession that had arisen at the time and caused me to tweet this, stressing me out incredibly hard. According to T's mother, who had contacted me in regards to the post, I ended up badly scaring T. This was not the intention of the post, and I am still so sorry for freaking people out with it. I am so sorry to T for scaring you with this. With my mental health in decline, I fell back into old habits and began to worry about never speaking to T again. I cannot overstate how the original tweet was not in response to these worries, however. Over the next few months, I was still under the impression that, eventually, I would be able to speak to T again. This was reinforced by our mutual friend. I just really, really, really wish I had the validation peace of mind that I'll at least have the chance to talk to her once I'm, actually stable. I want to do this for myself, and I am doing it for myself, but I'd feel so much more at ease knowing that she hasn't completely sworn off ever wanting to be friends again. It just fucking sucks. Didn't actually end up napping, so I'm gonna try getting sleep soon because my sleep schedule is fucked anyways, and I'm really tired, especially after uh, walking so much today. Maybe we could hang a little in VC if you're free. I'll probably just be playing Mega Man or some shit. I'm sure once you're actually stable and have shown a super strong effort that you don't need her to live, you'll be able to talk to her a bit again. I'm going to give it a couple more months before I ask her to talk again. If I keep up YouTube and shit, maybe it'll help because she'll see I'm active and stuff. Good. Keep working hard, Jody. You've been doing so well. Do you think she'll want to talk then? I know she needs time for herself, but I want to talk to her again. Blank said he was sure she would sometime. Maybe? Even then, just keep working on yourself, and it'll happen eventually. Very quickly. Anybody in these situations, drop them. They don't want to talk to you. They're worried you need to figure your shit out, and that's why they've cut you off. Deal with the fact that it hurts that they're gone, but don't. Get better to talk to them. Get better to get better. It's an important thing to do. Oh my gosh, how much left? My throat is dying. I actually have mental illness, so any mistakes or weird things that I've said, you can't judge me for. I don't know why my voice changed like that. This tone from friends did eventually shift as my mental health clearly got worse. I should have completely let things go at this point. Correct. Regarding the incident that took place on February 14th, 2025, I'm so sorry to everybody I scared that day. I was not well in general, and again, completely broke down. I freed out my old friends and somebody especially close to me at the time, who had only been as close as they were for about a month at that point. I had to deal with my reckless and dangerous behavior that evening, who went out of their way to save my ass while they were busy with an IRL friend round that I still abuse and still abuse the trust of by letting my horrific anxiety and worry get the best of me. They stayed in a call with me and rightfully, personally rattled me the fuck out in a private call later that night, wanting to make sure I was okay. I still want to thank this person greatly for what they did that night. I am so unbelievably sorry to them. Excuse me. On May 21st, 2025, I would begin tweeting out during an intense mental breakdown I'd begun to have over my then rapidly increasing gender dysphoria. It does not need to be said how brain dead this decision was. This was the result of several days of realizing how trapped I was feeling in my own body, realizing how awful the world was becoming in regards to transgender people and generally taking this extremely badly. While admittedly, as was stated in the original document, I had been unhealthily looking at T's blue sky posts as I had missed them. This was behavior that ultimately and completely ceased by February of this year. During my breakdown, however, I slipped back into this awful habit and looked at T's latest blue sky post and made a disgusting comment about it that I didn't even believe. I was feeling nothing but hatred and letting out internalized transphobia in the absolute worst way conceivable. This was not cause of this breakdown. This was not the cause of this breakdown, but the effect of it. I still wholeheartedly regret what I had done, and I'm so sorry to the poor lady I spoke about. My comments about her not passing were honestly complete horseshit. I was feeling horrible about myself and found a way to be mean to somebody else about it. I would like this moment to echo a sentiment I made about a week after this incident. By the way, my sincerest apologies for last week. I don't have anything against trans people. I was spiraling over my own internalized transphobia and anything My stupid ass tweeted out, I wholeheartedly regret. Please don't take these events as anything other than my need to be a woman, as is true with anybody trans femme. I just expressed that very, very terribly. I promise I'm focused on my transition right now and my own health. I will share updates as they become relevant. Hi, chat. We'll be using this ACC exclusive for Gomotion related updates indefinitely. Hope y'all understand. Stinkers. Speaking in my right mind, I do not, nor will ever condone genuine transphobic or LGBTQ phobic remarks, statements, or beliefs. Regardless of anything I have ever negatively claimed about the LGBTQ plus culture or identities in the past, all I want is for queer people and cultures to thrive and exist safely without oppression or opposition. After this incident, many of my old friends who were part of the friend circle I was in with T for many years and newer friends would cut me off. I do not blame any of them for leaving. Finale. Since the gender dysphoria-induced breakdown and well prior to the release of the original document, while I do not believe that I will ever find myself in a situation such as this again, given my past experience, nor do I have any desire to commit to a relationship of any kind right now, especially not until I've worked on myself to a point that is acceptable for the sake of my own health and for the sake of others. Largely, this incident triggered a period of self-reflection and introspection for me that has not ceased. I realized just how awfully attached I was to somebody who had made it clear they did not want to talk with me anymore, how badly our, and especially my, codependency ran, and how deeply and unhealthily the relationship ultimately was. I've been realizing how much better it feels to work on myself and just be Jody. On a fundamental level, right now, I am very much happier working on me. Partially, I have the person mentioned previously that stayed with me on the call that February night and that contacted the authorities in my area to thank for this. As I have been reflecting on the words they gave me back in January to focus on being themselves, to help cope with their own situations. Lately, the impact you've had on me has lasted long and is still actively helping me out. I hope you know who you are. This is something I have been working on with visible success, of which I am proud and relieved by. That I am able to very much be myself outside of a relationship with my ex-partner. Regarding the original documents claim that I had been using people as my therapist, I can acknowledge that I had a terrible habit of doing this. While over these past years I have sought after and found a variety of therapists and support groups, I struggled greatly with consistently on several occasions would ultimately and unintentionally create a support group comprised of my friends who I would then vent my frustrations to, sometimes without warning and completely out of the blue. Thankfully, I have already been getting professional help for a while now. I've been getting more involved in utilizing the resources to help my local LGBTQ plus support group has been providing to help me deal with my gender dysphoria and transition process. I have found a group of friends who have been keeping me humble and in check, and I'd like to thank them so much for putting up with me and helping me out through everything as of late. A huge part of the reason I have not been focusing on putting out traditional video essay style videos like I'm used to is because of keeping up with that kind of content to a degree I've been expecting of myself, and trying to meet the ridiculous self-imposed deadlines has been incredibly unhealthy for a long time. I've been trying to rein in my stress and explore more variety of creative avenues at the moment, like focusing on music. I am severely embarrassed at the fact that it has taken this long and this much to get me to realize how absolutely fucked up I have been to people around me for years, intentionally or not. That is to say that I have indeed had an incredibly and rightfully rude wake-up call to sort my shit. While I have been making great strides to address my own issues these past few months, I cannot ignore the gravity of which my actions have affected others, and I am thankful for the original document for helping me lay this out. For statement to conclude. This thing has had 4 finales, and it's devastating to me. A statement to conclude. I'm currently writing this section in the middle of the document, but I want to put this at the end. Reading through many of my old messages with T, I was suddenly hit with how wonderful the good times were, and how deeply meaningful our friendship was to me. T, if you're reading this, I'm so horribly sorry for how I ruined it. I'm so sorry for how I tarnished our friendship, and I'm sorry about the people I pushed away. The other relationships I tarnished in the process. I'm sorry for being so overwhelming and too much. I'm sorry for how I fueled both of our codependency on each other when neither of us were in a space to handle that. I wish we could have had a healthier friendship. We were a really, really fantastic friend. I'm so sorry that I tried to make a romantic relationship work when I was so unsure of it at first. I'm so sorry I hurt your trust, and I'm so sorry for the grief and stress and worry that I put you through. I never, ever, ever wanted to hurt you, and I hope you know that. I'm sorry to your family. I promise that I did my absolute best not to be awkward around them, and I'm so sorry that I was. So sorry I stressed everybody out at home. Despite anything I've said in this document, despite any immediate reaction I'd expressed, and despite how disgusted I feel over the attempt to paint me as a groomer, I hope you're doing okay, and I hope that you're so much happier despite everything that's happened and despite everything that's going on. I'm so sorry to everyone in that friend group I ended up hurting and ruining the trust of. You didn't deserve to be treated the way I did you all. That only took an hour and 40 minutes, so that's cool. I didn't even like my voice anyways. I mean, I hope this helps somebody. If it helps, then I will move to my computer to read the other document or other documents to have better and more consistent audio quality. But yeah.